Guys, do you ever feel like you're not a perfect mom? Because actually you are. If you don't believe in God, this might not resonate with you, but or maybe it will, I don't know. But I saw a video of a mom and she was saying that basically God gives children to us as like the gift. And she was saying, because he gives it specifically to you, you are perfect for that child. And I was like, that's actually like so beautiful, because I feel like as moms, like you're always doubting yourself. You always think like, am I not doing enough? Do I know best for my child? Like, I think you learn those things as the child maybe gets older, but I don't think, at least for me, it wasn't like from one day to the other, I knew I was like the best mom for Alaska. Like there was a lot of doubt, a lot of like low confidence in like my ability to be able to like decide things for her, to parent her, or like even if you do something, you're like, was that the best way to like do that for my child? So when I saw that video, I was like, that actually like is really beautiful, because it was like that child was meant for you in every way. Meaning like if you have work to do for yourself, that child was meant for you. If you feel like you make a mistake one day, or you like yell at them, they're still meant for you, you know, like with the beautiful things, like the things you're gonna show them, the things you do for them. So it's like sometimes I think we can have bad days and like we beat ourselves up as moms, as people. And when I saw that video, I was just like, it's a good reminder that like that child was meant to be brought into your life and no other mom. Because that's the other thing too, I think like sometimes like we'll compare ourselves. You might think like, I wouldn't do that for my child, or I wouldn't do that with my child. And it's like, yeah, you wouldn't, because they're not your child, you know? Like, so when I saw that, it just really resonated. I would get triggered in my head because I would feel like I'm not doing enough for her to do this thing. She also had like a hard time with like speaking right away. So that was another thing I would like beat myself up about, because it was like, well, I stay at home with her. So like, are people judging that I'm not doing enough for her to speak? So that was a huge self-doubt thing that I kind of had to get over. And now I'm like, no, I feel like I'm confident in my parenting, and I'm confident in who Alaska is, that our connection kind of drives our path. But yeah, I think being a mom and the self-doubt can sometimes kind of like overpower the parenting, because you're constantly thinking of like, what if I fuck her up, you know? Like, and that's like one of my biggest worries. But now I feel like I'm more at peace, because I find that I'm intentional with how I do things for her, especially with disciplining her now because of the stage that she's in. She's about to be 2, so she's like, ooh, the meltdowns. But so I tried to keep myself calm very hard. We are practicing. But even those days, sometimes if I lose it with her, like if I'm having a bad day and I just like yell at her, it like makes me feel so shitty. And because she has this little face, like when she notices that I'm getting stressed out, you can tell, like, because she changes, like she tenses up, and it makes me so like, it just breaks my heart. So she's taught me a lot about myself, and to me, I was like, she was my gift to me in that way, you know? Like I feel like Alaska, I always say this to people that I know, she was not easy when she was born. She was I don't know if she was colicky, because that's the other thing too. I feel like that term is so general, but she would cry a lot, and it was hard to console her, and it never stopped. So she was like 3-4 months. So it was difficult. I feel like once we got to a place that she got calmer, she was able to like connect with me, it changed everything. But even now, like I tell James, like she came to this world to teach me patience, because I was not a patient person before her with anything. I feel like now I have less patience with adults because I have to have patience for her. So that's the next thing I have to work on. But I feel like she's shown me so much of myself, and not just my flaws, but like what I'm really good at, or like what I can do well, and that I can push myself for certain things that maybe I didn't think so much before. And before being a parent, I'm not gonna lie, I would say certain things that I'm like, I wouldn't do that, but I definitely ate my words sometimes. There's still certain things that I'm like, still wouldn't do that because of like the values I have, or like the way I want Alaska to be raised. I feel like just having her has like opened a new door for me, and the way I see things in life that I didn't see before. She's also taught me, I feel like I've been better at self-reflection. I remember there was a time that she was like very distracted by the TV. This was why we cut down her screen time, because she was just like focused on it. And sometimes I would have it as background, just like while we were playing, but I would notice she really couldn't fully play, because she was like, I in here, I over here. So I remember James saying like, you know, maybe you should cut down the TV, or he said something like that. And I got triggered. Like, mind you, in my head, I felt like something doesn't feel right about her watching this much TV. And so I got upset and I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm doing this homework, blah, 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 blah. And I just went down this like rabbit hole. Mind you, he said it like in a respectful way. He didn't say it in a bad way, but I got triggered. And like days later, I started thinking about it and I was like, why did I get so triggered? And I realized it was like because I knew something was wrong. I felt like him telling me that I need to work on something was making me a bad mom. So like I feel like after having her, I reflect more on like why I get mad at certain things. And if I get mad, it's usually something I have to work on, and I'm open to that. Where I think before I would just get so mad that it just would never get worked on because I would get so pissed that I had to work on this thing. The last thing, I still need a lot of work on this, but control. Alaska has taught me to let go of control. And when I tell you guys, I try to control so much. I think it comes from like childhood anxiety, all that stuff, because I'm a pretty anxious person, but I think I've gotten a little better. But she just keeps me on my toes. Just like having a child naturally, I feel like they don't always go the way you plan. And it took me a while to realize that, or just to accept it, as I used to make such a big deal. Like it was like, no, her nap schedule's at this time, she eats at this time. That's why sometimes I would leave early from the library, because it was like she needs to eat at this time. Mind you, girl was fine. She was playing. She doesn't even know she's hungry yet till she leaves the library. So it's like those little things have shown me that like I'm more flexible, where I think before I was a very rigid person, because that's what I like attach myself to. I think that's what feels safe for me. I still give her like a schedule because children need schedules. I think, in my opinion, routines are very good for them. Yeah, seeing that video just like made me really think about like just sitting in that was like really beautiful, to like feel that like Alaska was made for me and I was made for her. And like even if there's challenging moments, like that is where the growth comes from for both of us. And it was just like no other mom would be better for her and no other kid would be better for me. And so I was just like, oh, I love that, because I already feel like I couldn't imagine having anyone but Alaska. I always wanted to before Alaska, I wanted a boy for a long time. I always felt like it was in my heart to have a boy. Right before we got pregnant, I started getting this feeling. I used to work in a school and there was a little girl that she was a little challenging. And she was a little stubborn, but she reminded me of me. And she was so cute. That kind of changed my mind a little. And I was like, having a daughter would actually be kind of fun. And I think it's something cool, like when you have a daughter, because you're a girl, like how the world is with girls, you know, so it's different than like having a boy in that sense. And so after that, it opened my mind to a girl. And once Alaska came, at first I was like, this girl is difficult as shit. And as she got older, I was like, she's so beautiful. Like her personality, I'm obsessed with her. And yeah, she just like, she's changed my life forever. I was getting watery, so we're gonna cut this down. But I just think it's such a nice reminder. Your children are meant for you, you're meant for them. And yeah, it's a beautiful gift. So let's enjoy it. Take care. Bye-bye.